open meetings, tonight's agenda has been appropriately posted. These proceedings are being video and audio recorded and will become part of Judson's permanent legal record. In order that the tape adequately reflects these proceedings, please silence your mobile devices, refrain from talking while others are speaking. Once again, I extend to each of you a sincere welcome from the entire school board. Thank you for your interest in Judson ISD. We have established a quorum, and I will call roll in a moment. Does he want me to do it?
Oh, he said the computer was updating. We need to do a manual roll call.
Okay, so, oh, no, there, he's got it back rolling. Okay. Hold on, do I have to hit proceed? Okay, there you go. Now you can mark your attendance. All right, all 7 members are present. And I have recorded that. Okay, we have no public comment today. A quick update on our agenda. I found out this afternoon that adjustments needed to be made to this evening's agenda. Our external consultant was scheduled to be here tonight to present the financial health indicators and the staffing study. But due to the high levels of variability found in the updated data provided by district this weekend, they were no longer comfortable presenting their analysis and recommendations tonight. Since the financial solvency plan and budget parameters needed to be based on that data, those are not ready for presentation tonight either. As such, the Finance Advisory Committee that have been asked to come provide their summary tonight, we've asked them to delay that. And unfortunately, the Finance Committee will not meet tomorrow night. We'll postpone that until we have the data in order to present to the committee. That was the next thing on their agenda to start working on. So I'll send out an email to the committee members notifying them of that. Additionally, we did not get the board budget information, so we are unable to discuss that tonight, which leaves us with only one agenda item left on the agenda, which will be agenda item 5A this evening. We apologize those in the audience and those watching at home. I know this was an anticipated meeting, and we're looking forward to hearing this information. Any questions from board members?
I don't have a question.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
So I just wanted to express my frustration and disappointment that this item is not ready for us tonight, that all these items are not ready for us tonight. As board members, we are volunteers. We are volunteering our time to be here so that we can support the kids in this district. So when the administration is bringing forward materials that are inconsistent or incomplete, it wastes valuable time, my valuable time, and the rest of these board members' time, because we're taking this out of our personal lives to be here for this. So for me, this level of unpreparedness, it's just not acceptable, and I will be adding an agenda item so we can address this in the future.
Any other questions from board members? I'm not sure that when this will be rescheduled. Dr. Fields and I will talk to the consultants about that. Go
I'd
ahead,
like to respond.
Ms. Stanford.
Oh, go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, well, and I was going to ask you too, Dr. Fields, to clarify if it's something that administration was slow with, or was there data changes, or could you just fill us in?
Definitely, ma'am. When Moat Casey came to us, they identified areas as going through the documents that they felt like we needed to look into the coding and update it. What they're asking for is not an official submission because there was an extension on when we could submit for the, what is it called? No, the snapshot, exactly.
The first submission date for snapshot is not until December 11th, and that is for all districts, and the final submission is not until January. And so this is a time frame in which any of the data and the coding that we have, we continue to make updates, and that is a standard process for our district as well as other districts across the state.
So we were putting in the information, and in putting in the information and updating our coding, there were some variables in what it was last year versus what it is this year. We've provided the information to them. We continue to update that because we have until, as Dr. Goss stated, December, January timeframe. So we'll still be doing that regardless of when this comes in. This was not about a lack of preparation. This is about our responsibility to continue to update the documents as we get ready to submit them by the deadline, as you heard Dr. Gosh, who's in charge of PEEMS, just say, We have until December and January.
Well, if the coding changed, that would change percentages, correct?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, so that's, I don't know how long it takes to change coding, but,
Again, Dr. Goss, would you like to talk about all of the things that need to be looked at when it comes to coding? I know she and I sat down and looked at it today. There's quite a few people, if not all the people in the district that you have to go through.
Right, so when it comes to staffing numbers and PEMS codes for numbers, those are regularly, they should be regularly, excuse me, they should be looked at on a regular basis in terms of when someone enters the system, they are coded in a particular PEMS code. If they change an assignment within the district, that code is changed as well, and so it is categorized in that way. I know there were several things that Dr. Fields mentioned that we were asked to update over the last couple of months in terms of the way that we coded some people last year and the way that those individuals are coded now. A lot of those changes have been made. In looking at some of the data today, there are some additional individuals that do need to be moved in terms of making the proper coding, and so that will make some adjustments to the way that that looks. It is not unusual for that. I know our campus principals, they are continuing to look at, we do this with our student data as well. In fact, we will continue to collect documents from parents to make sure that students are coded properly all the way up until the state gives us until January to actually collect that. Now, understand all of the data that is being changed is data as of October 31st, so it's kind of like a cutoff date, is the date that that is. I know that HR has spent the last couple of months making additional changes based on recommendations and needing to change some of those, and finance is looking at that as well. My department is really the data warehouse, so we're the ones that just kind of make sure that the information is, once we submit it, we receive errors, and then we work to correct the errors. When it comes to some of the staffing pieces, it requires individual eyes on it in order to identify what some of those changes may need to be. I know just today, there were several that I identified for Dr. Fields that absolutely need to be shifted from one PEMS code to another PEMS code, and so we will continue to make that correction, which will change some of the percentage numbers in terms of where people fall into which staffing buckets. Teachers included in that area as well, and we'll want to make sure that our teaching staff is absolutely accurate.
I mean, data changes is constantly rolling and changing, right?
Yes,
So-
we can run a data report out of our system, and tomorrow it will be different, just based on movements and changes that happen within a system.
I mean, is there any reason we couldn't have looked at the reports just as they were? There was enough of a discrepancy that we needed to set it all aside?
I think I can explain that because Dr.
Okay,
Gibson
yeah.
contacted me about that. The reports we all sat through for 3 or 4 hours last Wednesday, the ones then we got emailed last night, there were 300 to 500 employees missing. And then that, under, right? So, and then that does not line up to the payroll expenditures. So like the discrepancy was not moving 1, 2, 5, 10, 20 people around. There were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of, was the discrepancy in the total employees. So until the number of employees can match payroll, like, because it all matched up last Wednesday, and then the new slides, the
The
new
coding
data did
changed
not.
that. Okay.
We don't, they're not sure what happened. So they have work to do, but they said the slides we got last night, that they are not comfortable with that data.
Okay.
I think it's important to note that there weren't hundreds and hundreds of people missing. The way that it's calculated, what we put in the system versus what comes out on the PEMS report from the state are two different types of calculations, and it has more to do with the percentage of time in which they work and where they work than it has to do with just a straight number. Would you agree, Dr. Goss? We just went through that earlier.
So there's two different numbers. The information that you saw last Wednesday was based on a total staff number. That number was 3,464 was a total staff number. We actually do have total staff numbers that equate to that. Where the confusion comes is when we start to look at what they call the FTE, the full-time equivalent,
Which is reported in PEMS.
which
I need
is
to-
one of the reports that they were looking at. If you compare our total staff to our FTE count, it does look like there is a big discrepancy there. And the FTE count, we talked to TEA today to try to understand, because we can't run the exact same report that TEA does at the end of the year on FTEs. They don't, they basically told us, you can ask us for a PIA to try to run it, but we don't really have your data yet, but we will provide it once we have the data anyway in March. But it is a larger logarithm. It's essentially an FTE is different from a staff member, because an FTE may break a staff member up into sectionable parts. I might be 33% principal, 33% teacher, 33% something else. And in that, it's going to divide me up. I'm only 33% of a person sitting there as a principal, so it changes the FTE counts. The FTE counts are typically lower than the total staff counts, and so you really can't compare them. And I think some of the numbers that they were looking at last Wednesday were total staff counts versus some of the other numbers may have been FTE
Correct, because that's how you
counts.
benchmark. You benchmark off total staff.
Correct, and so I think that's where some of the
Yeah, and without Mo
confusion
Casey
is.
here to, defend and explain, because they are the ones, again, who
But we've
had
been
a
talking
challenge
to Mo
with the
Casey.
issue.
I know Ms.
Correct.
Davis has.
I
She'd
have
like-
Mo Casey's first draft, and that was based on FTE
Correct.
counts. And the
Okay,
draft
they're
that
not
they
here to defend
sent
themselves,
today was
and
also
so
FTE.
we don't have this presentation.
I'd like to hear Ms. Davis
so-
talk. Please
Okay.
stop interrupting. Let
All
her
right, so
talk,
then
please.
if you need me to use Robert's rules, we do not have the external consultant here to discuss this data.
She was commenting.
So
I'd
I
like her
will
to finish.
motion-
I'd like her to finish her
I-
conversation.
Again,
You brought it up. Let her finish.
I'm
You
going to
asked-
motion to postpone
You asked
this
if
until
you
Mo-
had, if we had
please stop
questions,
interrupting.
somebody
I'm in the
asked a
middle of
question,
motion.
and she's
And I have
answering.
questions to ask too.
All right. I'm going to motion to postpone this until Moat Casey and our consultants are here to actually explain the data discrepancy and the reason they did not feel comfortable presenting the data that district provided them.
That would have been fine and
Second.
dandy.
We have a
That
motion.
would have been fine and dandy had you not went out and gave your
Mr.
opinion.
Macias, please stop interrupting and please wait to be recognized by the
Well,
chair.
you're
We-
quieting my
I-
voice. I'm not going to let
Mr.
you do that. You
Mr.
talked. I'm certainly going to talk.
Mr. Macias, you have already
Do I have the
received an
floor
email
now?
from the attorney about Robert's rules. I'm going to ask you to please.
Do I have the floor?
Please allow governance to happen.
There was a motion and a
I
second.
have to repeat the motion, and then I open it up for discussion. You are aware of this? You were
Conveniently
the-
not allowing me to speak.
Okay, so
There's a motion
we
and a
have.
second.
Mr. Macias, we have,
I'd like to discuss.
this is why the public is calling us out.
I'd like to discuss. You
We-
postponed. There is discussion for postponement. It's in Robert's Rules of Order, if you haven't read it. I'd like to
You have not
discuss.
allowed me to speak.
Well, then go for it.
We repeat the motion for the floor. There is a motion on the floor to postpone until Moat Casey can be here present and explain to the board exactly what data discrepancies they found that make them uncomfortable to come present. Motion by Ms. Ryan, second by, now I don't remember, was it Ms. Potteet? We have a motion and a second. I will, hold on, I gotta proceed. Okay, click your button if you would like discussion on this. Postponements can be discussed, so we have a motion to discuss. Mr. Macias, you are now recognized in the discussion portion as per Robert's rules. Go ahead, sir.
Well, I certainly wanted to finish what Ms. Davis was saying, so if you don't mind, Ms. Davis, if you could just finish what your thought is on my time. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. We received a draft. The draft that the board members reviewed included FTE counts. Those are the counts that we have been using. There was a number that was discussed, one number only, 3464, and that was staff count. That was not what you received in the draft presentations that you were looking at last week. So I want to clarify that. Secondly, I would like to clarify that on Friday, I was included in a group text where Mo Casey asked for additional information on Friday. So to the comment about items they received late this weekend, we were asked for additional pieces of information where I was contacting PEAMS on Friday saying, hey, now they're requesting this data. So I know they're not here, but I'm here to talk about the data that was requested of us on Friday. So as of Friday, PEAMS department was still receiving pieces of information that was not previously requested before.
Okay, so just to clarify, we are having a discussion of whether or not we should postpone.
And this is important
not
for
a-
the
so-
postponement. So you're directing, you're
Correct.
taking my time. I'm timing myself. I
Okay.
have 5 minutes.
I'm telling you what the discussion has to revolve around.
And that is going to be part of my discussion. So thank you again for interrupting. So thank you, Ms. Davis, for that. My whole point, we wouldn't have to be here at all if there wasn't this attempt to silence my voice. Obviously, in the beginning, Ms. Ryan was able to put her opinion out there, and then she wants to postpone. I think that's just lacking transparency. So the bottom line is, I want accurate data. The board did meet with Moat Casey. The information was very relevant, very important, but apparently in the discussion, mind you, Ms. Ryan was with me when we met with Moat Casey, and it was brought out that we needed to change coding on some of our PEMS. Change the coding. Moat Casey is the one that's not comfortable. Now, they'll have a chance to explain why, and I get it. We're not going to blame people, because the first thing out of the gate from Ms. Potita is she wants to blame someone. This is a very important process that expects it to be accurate. So if we need to take more time, take more time. My only concern would be to the superintendent, what is the adjustment for us to come back so that we can be in compliance with our timeline to make some important decisions?
To Ms. Ryan's point, we will have to get with Moat Casey and see what's the best date to set up another meeting so we can go over this as we move forward. But right now, I was informed by Moat Casey that they wanted to take some time to review the updated materials that they have received, and then they'll be willing to get back with us and let us know how they want to proceed.
Now, for those that do not know, that Moat Casey's report will be important on how we move forward with campus closures, how we move forward with potential layoffs. That information has to be accurate. So kudos to Moat Casey for taking that effort to make sure that we have that accuracy. We discovered some adjustments that need to be made. There's nothing sinister here. It literally is giving us the information that we need to make an informed decision before we cast votes. And again, I apologize to the community, because I too am ready to get this information out there. You'll find when it comes out, there's a lot of justification to what I've been saying on the board. So I want this information out because it'll validate. But right now, let's make sure it's done appropriately. And again, just out of etiquette, Ms. Ryan, when someone's talking, let them finish. And that's, I don't need a response from you, but just let them finish. That's just a courteous thing to do. And just so you know, the attorney with Robert Rules, I'll share that content. Basically, Robert Rules is going to be on our next agenda, because I put it on the agenda to discuss as well, because it's not a rigid instrument. But we'll talk more about that at that time. That's all.
Anything else, Mr. Macias? Good? Okay. All right, I guess we'll, since, I don't even know where we're at. I guess we're on a motion to postpone, even though I'm pretty sure discussion of this has ended, but we will proceed with at least voting to not discussing the data without Moat Casey present. So, oh, hold on, don't push any buttons. Nope, it's okay, Miss Lee. As long as nobody pushes a button, you're okay. Sorry, my microphone wasn't on. Go ahead and speak. He'll reset us.
Wouldn't be okay, I don't know if it's okay for us to discuss, because there's just one thing that we're just really missing. It's just accurate numbers for all, like, the employees. Am I understanding it right? Because with all the discussion that we have with Dr. Gibson last week, I think all of us can maybe discuss on as like unified, like we do agree on a lot of things, especially that we need to cut 30 to 35 million on our deficit. And a lot of this are, what I'm asking is, can we discuss like some of this in here so we can maybe lessen the time when we meet them? At least, you know, we're actually here right now. All of us are here, and we all hear Dr. Gibson about his presentation. So that's my question. Is that something
I
that we
guess,
can?
are you asking if we can go over all the CAPAs and the plan without having the data first? I guess my concern with that is, I know the finance committee was very loud and clear about data-driven decisions, right? So.
Yes, it's like
Or which
not,
thing do you want to?
it's like not, we're not gonna be like voting anything here, but it's clear that they did say about to like decrease the payroll to, from 91% to 84%. At least we have like that bracket, right? Like which way we are going, because they bracketed like which, I don't know, like persons or employees and stuff were like over. But it's just that the accurate data is just what missing, right? But we still can discuss, like, where are we leaning forward for all of these discussions here with Dr. Gibson's, Mo Casey's recommendations? So that's my.
So the recommendations, those slides we got last night, Mo Casey has withdrawn those slides. And the recommendations and the data you have on there, Dr. Gibson has asked for that to be withdrawn. That those are no longer their recommendations. They're asking, before they will come back and give recommendations, they're not ready to do that with the information they have right now.
Did they
Well, just
change
like-
Kappa too? Are they changing?
They don't
Kappa?
have anything, well, all of the data. Right now, they're withdrawing all their data, or all their slides, so.
Including Kappa too?
Well,
'Cause-
when,
They're not in charge of the CAPA.
because I talked to
So-
Dr. Gibson as well. I personally called him just to ask advice on what happened. And everything stands except just for the data. Like the numbers, he can't present all the numbers and data because that's their work. Like that's the company that, their reputation is there. So the data, they need to give us the data, exact data, the numbers. But all the draft that were talked about last week,
So you
it's
want to
still
discuss
there.
it without Dr. Gibson here to explain any of it? I guess I would be concerned
No,
with
but
talking about any
it's-
of it without him explaining.
well, I just want to maybe discuss like, okay, because we're not all together when Dr. Gibson saw each of us. I just want maybe a discussion with each of our board member on how they feel or whatever they have with, when they met Dr. Gibson, leaning towards this. That's all I'm asking. I don't know if that's okay
Yeah,
or not.
I'm confused. I'm releasing the mic, I'm just confused.
I can say I'm not comfortable discussing any of this without Mo Casey being here. Dr. Gibson needs to be here because this is his presentation. He should present it. I do understand that the information is not correct, the data is not correct. For me, if the data is not correct, why would I want to sit here and discuss it? When things could change if the data is not right now.
Looks like, Ms. Jones, did you push the button?
Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I wasn't sure if this had been reset.
My question, I guess, was more policy-based as far as why we're motioning to postpone it when we were told we weren't going to discuss it. It sounds more like it would be an administration pull rather than a board postpone.
Correct, that's why I'm acting a little dazed and confused, because that is normally, Dr. Fields and I, there were some texts back and forth today about just withdrawing. And normally that is how if there's something that is going to be pulled and presented at a different time, that is normally how we have done things in the past.
I can speak to it if you'd like.
Go ahead.
So, Ms. Jones, we did get a text from Dr. Gibson earlier, and he requested that we do pull it, and that it wasn't that the data is incorrect. We keep hearing that the data is incorrect. The data is not incorrect. The data was submitted. It was a bunch of data that needed to be gone through, and they need more time to disaggregate the data. But it's not because the data is incorrect. I'm going to defer real quick to Ms. Davis and Dr. Gosh. Would you agree with that statement?
I would agree that we submitted certain pieces of data. Their very first request was submitted about 2 weeks ago. They received that request rather quickly from the PEMS department. There was another set of requests that came in on Wednesday. They received that by Wednesday afternoon, and there was another set of data that was requested on Friday.
But to Dr. Gosh, I'm asking, was the data that the PEMS department submitted incorrect?
No, sir. The data that was submitted was the data that has been submitted to the state. So we provided them with the PEEM submission that was provided to the state, and that is as of the end of the 24-25 school year. That was the original data that was requested by Mo Casey for our staff. That data is correct. The follow-up request that they made was asking us for a report that typically comes from TEA later in the year. We have a system that will run a report similar to that. We provided that report as of this Friday. What I will say is that a lot of the PEEMS coding changes, and from what I can tell so far, the changes that we made in the district as far as some of the positions that are no longer here, people that used to fill some positions that are now in other positions, those are the things that are changing. And so if you compare where we were at the end of year last year to where we are right now, it is very, very different. And it is my understanding that they want to make sure that that information is accurate, because it does look so drastically different from the way that we appeared to be staffed last year.
Because in our preparation for where we are right now, we were making decreases, reductions along the way with the vacancies. So I can see where that would be different. But to your point, Ms. Jones, I would say this. It's been requested by Mo Casey to table it. As much as we'd like to get into it too, to Mr. Macias's point, as we make these decisions, we want to make sure that the entire board feels comfortable that we're making those decisions based on the input of the audit team that we brought in. And they're saying that they want more time to disaggregate the data before they bring it back. So Ms. Lee is correct. There's some things that we could talk about, but their request was that we pull it and then give them time to disaggregate the data. So that would be the administration's recommendation as we go forward.
Yes, and I would be concerned that we get bogged down in the conversation, because when we start to compare the two sets of data that this board got, you know, without them there to explain why last Wednesday we were overstaffed by like 140 people in central administration, and now new data came in this weekend that shows we're 17 understaffed in central administration, right? Like, we don't have the supporting documents to explain a discrepancy of 170 people. So until we have the data from them, the supporting documents, I had asked for some additional, just so we can understand all these subcategories and where all the data is coming from. I just don't think discussing that without anything in front of us to actually talk about will unfortunately yield something. But I hate that we're having to delay this. Obviously, we have employees, and a couple of them reached out, you know, today, like they're waiting to find out, you know, what's going to happen. And we owe that to our employees. So yeah, I am disappointed that now we're going to head into Thanksgiving break with no answers to them. But with nothing in front of me, I don't know what I would be able to discuss tonight, so.
I would like an opportunity to respond to the example that you gave. One of the immediate recommendations that our cabinet received from Mo Casey when we sat down with them was the coding of our academic trainers. They said that we had coded them at the central administration level.
I thought we resolved that. They weren't coded there. Oh, okay.
Dr. Gosh?
Again, when we don't have the list in
but
front of us,
You
this
made a
is
statement,
the-
I just want to respond. I just
Okay.
want to respond.
Yeah, that was
That's
not
it.
what Mo Casey said.
So, Dr. Gosh?
So
where
when
were
you,
they?
when you look at the percentages from 24-25, all of those people were coded in that central administration category in the 24-25 year, which was the baseline data that most cases
So the
started
academic
with.
trainers were in the central administration?
They were included in
Okay.
that calculation.
Central administration or administration? The PEEMS
So-
code is administration, and there are central and campus underneath?
So the central and so part of this is a question that Mo Casey has to answer, because the way the PEEMS coding is, central administration includes cabinet
Campus.
members, and it also includes the superintendent. But then there's also another category that can be selected to be counted as central administration or campus. It doesn't divide it, so it depends on how they pulled it in. That part that can be included either or, because they didn't have a campus administration category on their report, would have included our directors, like for the curriculum department, it would have included those instructional
Dyslexia.
coaches, those 112 instructional coaches that we had on the books last year. of which those individuals are, the majority of them, 42 of them are now properly coded into the roles that they're in. 52 of them are now coded as teachers because that's what they are doing. A few of them were moved into assistant principal positions, and they are appropriately coded there. So those 112 that existed in the 24-25 year are recoded in this year to show what positions they actually are sitting in. But that, when you take 112 people out of something that may have been in a number for central administration, it does look kind of funny. And even myself, in looking at it today, I was trying to figure out what number did they use last year? And did it match with the reports that we submitted? Because my initial thought was, were our PEMS reports wrong? No, our PEMS reports reported what we actually reported, and it was just a matter of running through those numbers.
So I just wanted to say that to make sure that we understood that that decrease in central administration was an inappropriate coding correction. It wasn't because there's just a disappearance of a number of staff. We're coding it correctly. That way, we don't have this reflection that there's over 100 people at central office administration that we're over. So that's why you saw that correction.
Ms. Canoyer?
Thank you. I was just going to bring all of that up because during the discussion I was in with Dr. Gibson, he deliberately talked about these things that needed to change, that when they went through and looked at what our our district administration central office numbers looked like, that it immediately raised a red flag for him because it was so high. And as they were poking around, they discovered some of these things that aren't a true reflection of the jobs of the people involved. And so I'm really glad that we're taking the time to clean up all our data and that we can look. I've been saying all along to people who say we're overstaffed in central office that is absolutely not true. Go show me the extra 100 cars out in the parking lot. That's just not realistic. So I want clean data. I want good data. I don't want us to delay a meeting because somebody questions the integrity of our administration. That is not what's happening here. There is nothing nefarious going on. It is simply making sure that the people who are doing the jobs they're doing are being coded correctly so that we have an accurate perception of where we can cut when it comes time to cut.
Okay, so I'm going to look up and down the line, or I'm able to withdraw the motion if we want to go with the way we have done in the past, which is the superintendent and Moat Casey are wishing to withdraw these agenda items because we just don't have the stuff. Now is not the appropriate night to talk about it once we have everything together. So do we need to take a vote? Am I seeing enough nods that, okay, then I will withdraw my motion and will allow the superintendent and Moat Casey to withdraw
Right.
these, or postpone, or take these agenda items and let us know when we are ready.
I would ask that we pull the agenda items this evening so we can move forward when Moat Casey feels comfortable with disaggregating the data and bringing it back to the board, please.
All right, I'm seeing enough nods that is good. Okay, so that leads us to, the board will, oops, hold on, reading the wrong one. Okay, the board will now adjourn into closed session pursuant to the following sections of the Texas Open Meetings Act. Pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.074, discussing the evaluation or duties of the superintendent related to the employment or duties of the deputy superintendents. The time is now 6:33, and we are in closed session. The board will now reconvene in open session. The time is 7:53 PM. No final action, decision, or vote was taken while the board was in closed session. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned at 7:53 PM.